Salute, 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 Yankee Nation. This is the Pinstripe Chronicles bringing to you a special Game 2, special post-game show of the Yankee Guardian breakdown. The Yankees are 2 games away from a World Series appearance, our first World Series appearance since 2009. At the end of the day, that's what all that matters. That's what matters at the end of the day. Was it pretty? No. Was it gritty? Yes. And that's really all that matters. That's my major takeaway from it. And the Yanks are 2 games away. So I think how better to celebrate it than to hop on and talk with Yankee Nation, everyone in the Pinstripe Chronicles fan base hopping on. So salute, and we will have a good conversation with you guys. And I'm joined by my brother from another mother, Rob Enio. He's back, and I'm sure he's got plenty to say. So let's pass it to you, Rob. How are you feeling, man?
Relieved. Alex witnessing history. I mean, this is the first time we've been up. Yeah, Jonathan, we'll be going live tomorrow morning as well. I just want to say hello to everybody that's already here. We got 13 people watching in total. Jonathan was here well before we went live, as usual. We got ABX in the building as well, so it's good to see everybody. But yeah, I'm relieved, man. First time since '09 that we've been up 2-0 in LCS. The last few times we've been there, I think we were 1-1 and 0-2 the last time, obviously, to Houston. So this is a breath of fresh air. This is not perfect the way they're playing. What's up, Dev? They're not playing perfect by any means, but they're winning. And this is what we were talking about before we went live, is they're finding ways to win these games despite showing some of their deficiencies. Like the base running was pitiful, and yet it didn't cost us. And usually that would cost us. So this is just it's a relief that they're finding ways to win games. They're getting big hits. Verdugo had a big hit. Judge obviously finally breaking through. This was a long time coming for him. It kind of silences some people for a little bit, and we can go to Cleveland with a very good 2-0 lead and just try to finish the job there. Let's not waste any time. The Yankees seem like they're serious, and Aaron Boone is managing for his job because this guy has been making all the right calls. And I can't complain about a single move he's made yet, which I didn't think I'd say this far into the postseason.
Austin Wells a cleanup? I'd maybe argue that.
Maybe, yeah. I just what I'm thinking is like they don't want to break up the lineup, and who would you put there? Because you can't really put Jazz, right? You can't put Jazz there because he's not producing. Do you put Rizzo there? I mean, that might be your best bet. His at bats have been phenomenal since coming back.
That's a good point too, Jacob. Jacob only batted Hill last night. Yeah, but by and large, absolutely agree. This is the best postseason he's managed since he's become manager 2018. It's night and day from 2 years ago. We're not going to go through it again, but it was a mess 2 years ago. But there just seems to be a calmness. He is managing with calmness, and he's making the right calls. He's doing a good job with the bullpen, which is not normally his strength. It's actually been a real strength of his this year, and especially in the postseason, he's done really well with the bullpen. Um, that was one of his big improvements over the course of the year, not just postseason, but regular season too. I think he managed the bullpen very, very well. But it's been especially the case the postseason, and he's made the right calls. It was the right call to go with Verdugo. I have to say, I questioned it, but it was the right call. He's done it. He's been absolutely fine, and it was the right call to go with Rodon in Game 1. Again, you could have questioned it, but it was the right call. He was absolutely fantastic. It's been the right call to have Luke Weaver as a closer. Absolutely, that has been nailed on. A great move, and most importantly, having Rizzo in the lineup has completely changed the trajectory of this series, and that leads us to Big Blue in the Bronx. My guy, I will be on with him tomorrow. Not tomorrow, the game after, in Game 3, Thursday. We'll be calling Game 3 from his channel. And he's right. Rizzo has surprised us. He's been very good. His time has been excellent, and that's been the key. Having Rizzo in the lineup. Again, you could have questioned it, been like, you know what, he's not seen like pitching in a while. He's not been healthy. Is he going to be okay? Better than okay. He's been fantastic. So there's a lot to praise. There's still a lot of stuff to work on, but that's almost a good thing considering the Yankees have won every single game this postseason, bar one, and they haven't even played more than like a B. They're playing at a B level, and they've still won every game bar one in the postseason. That's a great sign, to be honest. That they could tighten up, continue to tighten things up a little bit, and then to be even stronger. You have to be pretty positive here.
Oh, 1,000%. And I'm very happy to see Rizzo doing what he's doing. He was my pick to have a big postseason. I just felt like this was the moment because I want to see him go out on top. I just don't know how much more he has left in the tank. So the fact that he came off the IL with that hand or whatever, not even, I don't know if it was technically the IL, but came back from the injury and he's had the best at bats in this series so far. I mean, everything he's hit the ball well tonight. That big hit, obviously scoring in a run. His at bats have probably been the best out of the entire lineup to this point, and that's a great sign because not only is his bat looking good, but we know his defense is better than anybody else we could put out there at first. So that helps out in so many different ways. It is huge to have him. What's up, Luca? And FJ bringing up a good point. Bounce back inning and a third from Tim Hill tonight, and that was very important to see him bounce back. So, but yeah, like you said, the brand of baseball they're playing is not great, and they're still finding ways to win. This is a different team than what we're used to in October, and that's a great sign. Will they be able to do this if they do advance, or will they be able to do it against a team like the Mets or Dodgers? Remains to be seen. Obviously, we got to get there first, but if they can clean these things up, they're a tough team to beat because they're winning despite those things. So if they stop kicking themselves or shooting themselves in the foot with base running mistakes, they're going to be very difficult to beat, especially if Aaron Judge gets going because we know playoff G is real. We know Juan Soto is Juan Soto. He's generational. Every game he plays, that number goes up by 100 million. And if Aaron Judge starts to hit, then this is a very difficult team to beat. They just cannot shoot themselves in the foot. And that's what they did a lot this year. That's what they're not doing, totally doing this postseason so far. So 5 wins. We need 6 more. We got to get these next 2, and hopefully we can take this series as soon as possible. But I won't count Cleveland out, especially at home. They're a tough team to beat. They're scrappy, and they got some boppers out there. So it's just important that we got these 2 wins here at home because we're not a good home team. I'm very confident with them on the road. But the fact that we won these 2 at home makes me even more confident.
Absolutely. So we're gonna go through a couple of things here. We're gonna start with talking about Garrett Cole. Then we're gonna move on and discuss base running, Austin Wells, maybe the cleanup and maybe moving off with him possibly. And then we're going to talk about the positives. We're going to talk about Rizzo, we're talk about Torres, and we're going to talk about the bullpen and any other things that anyone in the chat wants to bring up. But first of all, let's get into the chat because our chat is here. The chat is lively. We're only 8 minutes in, and there's people flooding in. So we love it. So double the amount of people that were in like a minute ago. So we're loving it. People are hopping in. People are excited. So let's first of all start with Jonathan. Salute. Jonathan was here early. Jonathan was here an hour ago. So Jonathan was set. So salute to Jonathan. What does he say here? Judge comes through, but base running needs to improve. We will get into that. Absolutely agree there, Jonathan. Alex, my man, good to see you in the chat too. Dev Finch, salute to you. We've got Uncle T. He is back from the ocean. He was doing an ocean fishing trip, but he's back in time for the Yankee game. That is what it's all about. Smack the like and hit the sub. Jacob, salute to you. Thank you, Jacob, for being with us. FJ, absolutely. And Luca, my man. How you doing, Luca? Good to see you, bro. And as Alex says here, smack that like button. What's Cold Italian Pizza got to say? What up, everybody? What up, Cold Italian? How are you doing? So everybody, hit the like button, hit the sub button. And if you haven't already done so, you hit that notification bell so you know when we go live. Also, anyone who joins after the fact, thank you so much for watching, and do hit that like and sub button too. So let's get into some things here. So let's start off with Garrett Cole. Rob, how would you assess Garrett Cole's outing. I felt that he had balls of steel to get out of a bunch of jams. Didn't even have his best stuff, but he kind of kept us in it. I thought he pitched fine, although the back-to-back walking the bases loaded is something maybe to be concerned about. But I thought by and large, I thought he had balls of steel to get out of some tough jams. I'm not overly concerned. Rob, what do you think?
I want more out of the ace. I don't want to see him only going 4 1/3. The 4 walks definitely a bit concerning. And the swing and miss stuff wasn't really there tonight, but the fact that he didn't let the game get away is what's important here. The game could have easily gotten away from us if multiple runs had scored there. The fact that he kept it at 2, a couple of sacrifice flies, I think it was. It was better than the alternative, which was a grand slam or a bases clearing double or whatever it could have been that made the game 3-3, and then eventually Cleveland takes the lead and we probably don't come back from it because momentum would shift their direction. So he kept the momentum on our side, kept them from getting that big hit. So yeah, he did show balls of steel, but hopefully his next start he's better, because that's 2 out of his 3 starts now where he hasn't been his best, and we need him to be at his best, because if he is, we ain't losing that game. There was a little bit of a point in this game tonight where you're like, don't blow it, because we got a golden opportunity to go up 2-0 here, and he got the job done. He locked in and he got the job done. But hopefully next start he is better. But considering what the alternative would have been, this is just fine. Obviously,
Yeah,
you want more, but you'll take this considering that we got the W.
I felt, to be honest, I felt that the win was pretty much secured after he got the Rocky at bat. I thought that Rocky at bat was huge. It was like a 10 pitch at bat. Full credit to him. He hung in there, man. He hung in. He hung in with some really tough knuckle curves. He kept fouling them off. Kept fouling off. Usually, in those circumstances, that leads to bad things happening. From a Yankee perspective, that would normally I would have expected them to come through with a hit or something like that. But Cole maintained his composure and got the out. Once he got that out, I felt very, very comfortable that we would see it through. However, I didn't anticipate him then walking the bases loaded the very next inning. That I didn't see coming. So that was my only concern, was the 5th inning. For the first 4 innings, I had no real issues. I felt Cole battled well, and I felt he would get through 5 easy and then 6, but I didn't anticipate that 5th inning. So if you wanted to be extra critical, I would say that 5th inning got away from him a little bit. But Boone made the right call. Clay Holmes was the right call in that spot, to induce the ground ball and get out with no further damage. I thought that was pretty much the right call right there. And so salute to Aaron Boone and salute to Clay Holmes. I can't believe I'm saying this. Clay Holmes actually did us a favor, came through.
Playoff Clay is real, the way that
All
playoff G
right.
is real. I don't get it. I really don't. I said this on the last show I was on. Was it what today's? I can't remember what day it is anymore. I think it was Friday. For whatever reason, Clay Holmes turns it up in October. He did the exact same thing 2 years ago, and he's doing it again now. And it's as simple as switching his role, because that's what they did
Yeah.
2 years ago, and that's what they did this year. And they got him out of that closer's role where he clearly was in his own head, because it was just kind of like, how do I blow this now? Now he's just like, I know what my role is. I'm the setup man, or in this case, middle relief, but I got to get you out of this jam. And he seems to thrive in that role. So maybe he does like the pressure, but doesn't need to necessarily be considered the closer. It's really weird. Like Brad just says, and what's up to Brad? I haven't seen him in the chat in forever. Obviously, we know the time zones are a huge difference here, but he's a beast, different beast out of the closer job. It's
Yeah.
insane. But we've been talking about this for multiple years now. Take him out of the closer role, and you got a better pitcher. Is this enough to keep him around? No, but this is certainly what you want to see, because we were talking about this for years, not months, years. We were saying, get him out of the role of closer and he will be a better pitcher. And we're seeing it now, and we're seeing it at the most important time. And that's a good point, Jonathan. He wants to go into free agency on a high note. This is going to get him paid. The performance he's having in October right now, it's going to get him paid by somebody. But most importantly, he's pitching lights out in big moments. He's not coming in blowouts. These are close games, games that if he gets one mistake, it's in there and Cleveland's got the lead or Cleveland's got a tie, whatever it may be. He's getting it done. And that's more than we can say what he was doing for a good 2.5, 3 months in the regular season. So playoff Clay is a different beast. And it's quite fun to see because it's shutting me up, and that's a good thing. I want to be shut up because that means he's doing his job. Because I had no confidence in this dude in the postseason, and he has completely silenced me.
Clay's stuff is better suited to situations like the way that Aaron Boone used him in that scenario, where a ground ball can get you out of a bases loaded jam. Get him out of tight spots because that sinker is effective. That sweeper slider that he has is effective, especially going in on lefties. It is effective, especially that sinker. So I think that was the way to use him. I think it was the way to use him all along. He just doesn't have the stuff to be a closer. He doesn't have the mental fortitude, but he seems to be a lot more comfortable coming in spots where we desperately need him, and it came through in this occasion. So, tipping my cap. I just don't want to see him close games. He doesn't have that. Doesn't have that extra. He doesn't have enough pitches really to be closing games. I think that's really what it is. I think he just needs to very much focus on that sinker slider that he's got, and I think it's better suited to the role that he's in. And you're seeing it. You're seeing a different Clay Holmes. Another positive for someone who is also playing for a contract, not just Clay Holmes. Gleyber Torres. This is a different beast now. Playoff Gleyber is a different beast. When we were going through with Tats and I were going through position by position, we were talking about second base. We were like, it's like 55-45. We'll go with Gleyber, but you could argue it was a wash. But to be honest, it's been a no competition. Gleyber is torching the field right now, and he's been one of our most effective hitters, and he's been one of our most effective hitters since September, batting well over 330 since September. October, he's just in another level altogether. His defense has been fine. He's been locked in. His offense has been locked in, and always a story with Gleyber Torres is if his offense is locked in, his defense will be locked in. It's when his offense is off, that's when his defense is off. So this is what we're seeing with Gleyber Torres. He's been excellent coming out of the leadoff spot, and he's playing for a contract. And if this continues all the way to number 28, then we have a conversation to make. Rob, what do you got to say about playoff Gleyber? Playoff Gleyber is real.
I said this before the playoffs started. I said if he has a good finish to the season and plays well in the playoffs, it would not surprise me if he's back next year. A lot of people, including you and other people on our show and our chat, kind of said, "Whoa, don't get ahead of yourself there."
Absolutely.
But he's hitting 290 right now with a well over 900 OPS, and out of the leadoff spot. He's setting the table more times than not for Soto, and then setting the table for Aaron Judge, who has had much better at-bats the last few games, including that Kansas City series, and we finally saw it pay off tonight. So that's important. What he's doing right now, he's playing for a contract, but he's also trying to win a championship. He loves being a Yankee. That's one thing I will always say about Gleyber, despite the headaches that he gives us, and he one day we love him, the next day we want to throw him off a bridge sometimes. It's the way he is. But he's always loved being here, and he's always said he wants to be here. He wanted to talk extension. The fact that his name was brought up in trade conversations for 3 straight years, and fans wanted him gone. There's the pro-Gleyber crowd like Sierra, and there's the anti-Gleyber crowd. And he's had to go through all of this, and we know that some of the stuff does get to his head, but that day he got benched for like 2 games in a row. Ever since then, you can argue he's been like the second best player on the team, because Judge was red hot, and then even when Judge went on a homerless streak, Gleyber was carrying the team for a little bit. So for a good month and a half, maybe even 2 months, Gleyber has been right there with the top of our team with Soto and Judge. Like that top 3 in the order was getting the job done. And so far in the postseason, they're doing it again. But Gleyber Torres has been fantastic. His defense has been fine. His offense has been outstanding. And it's doing it at the right time, much like Clay Holmes, I just talked about. He's doing it at the right time because it means we're going to win games if they're playing well. Hats off to Gleyber because he's proving a lot of people wrong, and he's been phenomenal as a leadoff hitter. He's just been a completely different player. And sometimes hard love works, tough love works. I mean, look what it's done for Gleyber Torres. And I think when that happened, I think that kind of flipped the switch in Aaron Boone, kind of like maybe I need to change up a little bit because we saw a different Boone from that point. And I think it's carried over into what we're seeing right now in the playoffs. So Glaber has been fantastic, and hopefully he keeps it going because, setting the table for those two absolute monsters behind him is always a good thing.
This is why I never understood why Michael Kay would attack people like us, ourselves, that would say Aaron Boone needs to be tougher on his players, right? No one's asking him to be Larry Boa. No one's asking him to be Billy Martin, Lou Pinella. No one's asking him to do that. What we're asking is simple things: accountability, leadership, and it was at that point where Gleyber Torres once again dogged it, as he was dogging it a lot in the first half of the year. Once he got benched and Aaron Boone didn't back off, he just said it was something that needed to be done. But, we've talked about it. Case is closed. Since then, it's been a different Gleyber Torres. And that is what we're talking about: accountability and leadership. If you can show leadership to that locker room that everyone is accountable, then you're gonna get guys that's gonna succeed. That people are gonna start to succeed. That's how you manage. And for some reason, Boone was scared to do it since 2018. It must be Brian Cashman because I don't think Aaron Boone is like that. I think there's probably a little bit more to him than just Barney the Friendly Dinosaur. You know what I mean? It was just like there has to be something more to him, and we're finally see it this year. And could come at a better time for him because he is playing for he's managing for a job, as you say. Glaber's playing for a contract. Clay Holmes is playing for a contract. Soto's on a 1 year deal, and these guys have all stepped up in the playoffs so far. And Stanton is arguably kind of fighting against that fan base. All not fighting, not in terms of like going after us, but kind of fighting against a reputation that he's not a special player. He very much is a special player. You know what I'm saying? So he's really been fighting against that reputation, and so that's kind of been for me. That's the story of the playoffs. It's the guys that have something to prove have, for me, proven something in many ways, and it's been good to see. And I think Aaron Boone is one of those examples of once he finally showed a little bit of balls, held Gleyber Torres accountable, it's been a different story. It's been a different story for Gleyber Torres. He's someone that obviously needs a little bit of tough love. Management is not just a general, right, one size fits all. Everybody is different. Everybody has different ways of working. You know what I'm saying? Some guys need a bit of positive reinforcement. Some people need a massive kick up the ass, you know? And Gleyber Torres is the type that I think he needs a bit of a kick in the ass. And he got a bit of a kick in the ass, and he has been great since then. So, listen, I don't want to make massive declarations yet. We're only halfway through the ALCS, but obviously this is the current trend. If this trend continues and we go on and win the whole fucking thing, then we could look back and say, you know what, maybe the change to this team was when Boone finally held people accountable. It certainly helps. But that's why I disagreed with what Michael Kay was saying. He was always yelling at fans, calling us mouth breathers and all this shit. And it doesn't need to be as black and white as we're asking him to be Lou Piniella. No, there could be a middle ground. I think, and the nuance is, you know what, you can just be yourself, but still ask for a little bit more. And we're finally getting that.
I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right, and I love what Anna Marie says here. Big G, comeback player of the year. I can't. You can't say it better. He is fighting against the fan base because how many people did we see that we interact with, whether we want to or not, on social media, that the Yankees should cut him? I
Yeah.
saw it all off season. The Yankees should cut this guy and free up a spot for Spencer Jones. So this way you don't have the logjam and you can DH Aaron Judge or move him to first base. And it was just nonsense after nonsense after nonsense. And I'm like, why are you gonna, first of all, you're not eating that money. These are the same people that tell you they're not going to cut DJ LeMahieu. They're not going to eat $35 million. Well, then they're going to eat $98 million of Stanton. Stanton walks to a 25 home run season.
Yeah.
His biggest flaw is, unfortunately, he gets hurt every year, and he misses at least a month. It's not like a couple of weeks. He's gone for a month. And because of that, it takes him a little time to get back into gear. But when he's healthy, he's very good. Top bat speed in baseball. And
Absolutely.
when it matters most, he's now, I think he's tied with Judge, or Judge might have overtook him back for fifth place for most home runs all time in the playoffs in Yankee history. Stanton's only been here since 2018. So, I mean, what more do you want from the guy? He's
Wow.
done everything that you need him to do in the postseason, and he does it every single year. And he did it again last night in game one. This dude comes through time after time again, and he's a villain to a lot of fans because of his contract that we didn't pay him. We traded for it, and it's a trade I'd make 10 times out of 10 every day of the week. If I can go back in time knowing what I know now, I'm still making that trade because you
Yeah.
gave up nothing for the defending MVP. You added 59 home runs to a lineup that just had Aaron Judge hit 52 that year. And people are like, it cost us Bryce Harper, it cost us this. It didn't cost us anybody. It's a move you make every time. Any team that can afford it makes that trade. And they don't like him
Off
because of
the
that.
Starling Castro, I think.
Starlin Castro and two prospects that nobody
Right,
remembers.
that's
One
what
of
it
them,
cost us. It didn't
yeah,
cost us Bryce fucking Harper. It has nothing to do with Bryce Harper.
exactly. We gave up Jose Devers and a player who I can't even remember. And those two are not even anywhere close to the Marlins organization. So it's a trade you make every time, and he comes through when it matters most. How often do we hear Yankees fans say, regular season numbers are nice, but it matters what you do in the postseason. It matters what you do in October. Well, Giancarlo Stanton puts up fine regular season numbers, and he puts up even better postseason numbers. What more do you want from the guy? So please, by all means, keep wanting to cut him, keep wanting to bench him, keep doing all those things, keep saying all those things because he's going to keep proving you wrong. He's going to keep shutting you up. I love it. Big G, I've been defending this guy since the day of the trade, and I've gone
Me
to
too.
war with several people on social media about Giancarlo Stanton for years now, since before we were doing this show. And I'm glad I got some backup now with Tats and Donald and other people from our Chronicles crew. So, yeah, Big G has been fantastic, and I love to see it.
I've always been a Stanton fan. I love the guy, and I trying to work out why he's not endeared himself to the fan base because, as you say, the Yankee standard is the playoffs. It's almost like the regular season is almost irrelevant. What can you do in the playoffs, right? Well, Stanton's giving you what historic numbers in the playoffs, and that's not hyperbolic. He's got the fourth best OPS in Yankee history in the playoffs. Uh, that it says it all. I think his home run per at bat is also the fourth best in Yankee history in the postseason from the last time I checked statistically. So why he doesn't get more praise, I can't work it out. I mean, it just feels like the standards always. It's always like the bar's always being moved with him. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? All right, he's not the most athletic guy. I get it, right? I know he can't run. I know he can't play defense. But neither could Jason Giambi to any of those things. And Jason Giambi was endeared here. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what is it that he needs to do? You know? Giambi is one of my favorite players, but he didn't win a World Series with the Yankees.
Nope.
No, right? So, I mean, what is it? But Giambi was incredibly clutch in the playoffs, right? Which is why I love Jason Giambi. Stanton's very much the same. You know, like for some reason the fans can't get behind him. You know, I mean, what is it?
And a
I
lot
just
of
want to
it,
work it out. What is it? Is it because he's injured all the time?
it's the
Okay,
injuries. That's it. It's
but
the
he's
injuries.
always healthy. Well, he's always good when he's healthy. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? It's like what more needs what more does he need to do?
My biggest complaint is a lot of the people that say this are the if George were here crowd. Tell me, how many times on this show have I said this? That is a George Steinbrenner trade. George Steinbrenner would be foaming at the mouth if he had a chance to get Giancarlo Stanton for slapdick prospects and Starlin Castro. Are you kidding me?
Right.
He was salivating to get Alex Rodriguez, and it was a very similar situation. You got A-Rod, who's coming off an MVP season, or not an MVP season, but a hell of a season, and he had a huge contract, and you gave up prospects, and you gave up one really good player in Soriano and prospects for him. George Steinbrenner said, "Yes, do it." And he had to move positions because we already had Stanton had to move to left field for at least for that 1 year. But
Mm-hmm.
the Yankees were smart to make that trade, just like they were smart to make the A-Rod trade. That's a George Steinbrenner move, and a lot of these people that hate Stanton are like, "I want George back because he would have cut Stanton." What do you have
Not
though?
true, because I'll almost guarantee you that if George was alive, Stanton would be one of his favorite players because Stanton is accountable and he's a winning player and he steps up in big spots. Those kind of things is what George Steinbrenner fucking loved, right? Someone that was accountable, was tough, impossible to get out in the playoffs, and a winning type player. Stanton is all of those fucking things, and he also loved big fucking boppers. Stanton is that fucking thing. So I can guarantee you that George would fucking love a Stanton.
He would have. He absolutely would have. And this is again, we can't ever say he would have done this. Obviously, we know with George ain't coming back from the dead. We know that can't happen. But I'm just saying that's the crowd that hates Stanton the most is the if George were alive crowd. Because there's like different factions of Yankee Twitter. There's it's like the NWO out here. There's so many different factions. There's the try to be positive ones. There's the overly negative ones that hate everything. That only show up when things are going bad. There's the old school ones that are only going to talk about the days of old, like the dynasty, which was great and all, but I don't want to hear about it anymore. That was 2 decades ago. And the ones that were around for the '60s, they saw Maris and Mantle. Great. We can't see them anymore. There's so many different factions. There's the new school ones. There's the anti-analytics. There's pro-analytics. But there's that group that if George were still alive crowd, and they're the ones that hate Stanton the most. You would think he killed somebody the way they treat this guy. And I'm not even exaggerating. The way people were talking about benching him after a game one of Kansas City. Like the Royals series, like bench him. I was like, why? What'd he do besides driving the only run of game two? Bench him. He doesn't run.
That's
Okay.
right.
Well, you
Dude,
know
Bob
who?
Costas wanted him euthanized. He was talking about him like he was fucking like 96 years
Right.
old during that whole broadcast. Like, it's fucking ridiculous.
It was ridiculous. But you know who does run very well is Jazz Chisholm, and he had a huge base running error tonight. So do you guys want
Right.
him benched too? Like, what do we do now? Like, it just please just root for the players that we have on the field. I know we have guys that we like. I didn't like Josh Donaldson. I know you didn't. I don't think anybody did. But I wanted him to perform because that meant my team was winning. Tats always says you root for the jersey. You root for
Yeah.
the guys that are wearing these pinstripes. And Giancarlo Stanton wears those pinstripes, and he wears them with pride. And
Right.
like the tagline that Tat says, he wears it with pride and he fucking plays hard.
We
When he's on
fucking
the
does,
field,
man.
he
And we
plays hard.
fucking need him because I guarantee you guys, we would have been out of that Royal Series if he did the hit.
Mm-hmm.
If there was no fucking Giancarlo Stanton, if he gotten benched after that couple of times where he couldn't beat out a ground ball at first base, the Yankees lose the Royal Series. It's as simple as that. Stanton carried that team in the
He
fucking
did.
DS, and he got us game 1-2 right here yesterday. So, I mean, what more do people want? Like he's front and center, like 50% of our offense of our playoffs so far. I don't think there's much of a doubt about that. I think at minimum he's 50% of our offense. So Let's talk about some things that we need to work on. Uh, Base running. Now, John Sterling, God bless him, man. We need John Sterling back next year because he was not fucking around. He said the Yankees run the bases like they're drunk. If I could like that, I would like it a million times. Like that was fucking badass. We love you, John Sterling. You are the goat. Because the Yankees do run the bases like they're drunk, and they ran the bases like they were drunk tonight, man. They did everything. The base runners did everything they possibly could to give that game back to the Guardians. Like, what was Jazz Chisholm doing? Like, dude is not locked in these playoffs. I'm starting to get really worried about Jazz Chisholm. He just does not look like he wants anything to do with the playoffs. He looks like he's a space cadet out there. But the one thing he does do is he's got a cannon of an arm at third base. But then he cut off Volpe. He just kind of wandered around in front of Volpe before Volpe could make the play and throw the guy out at second. Chisholm just walked right in front of him and then caused an error. Uh, I don't know what Jazz Chisholm is doing. Offensively, he's doing square root of nothing. Base running's garbage, and it looks like he's not involved. And I'm very disappointed because he was my prediction, along with Tats, that he was going to be one of my surprise candidates to have a big playoffs. I thought that he had the makeup. I thought he's got the speed, he's got the defense, he's got the contact, and he loves playing in front of Yankee Stadium. I thought it would buoy him to another level. It's regressed him to a level that I don't want to see again. Like, it's fucking terrible. What do you see from Jazz Chisholm?
I've seen a guy that is not backing up his words.
Yeah.
He's done a lot of talking. He's sure done so. And we attacked Nestor Cortez after he said what he said on Twitter and then didn't back it up. So it's only fair that we do the same for Jazz. Look, I like Jazz, and
Oh yeah.
I love Jazz. We wanted this guy before anybody was talking about him. We were like, let's get Jazz Chisholm, along with Hector. He was saying that a long time ago as well. So shout out to Hector. But right now he's not helping. What's he hitting? 130, and it's not like a one. It's Aaron Judge is hitting like 160, but he's getting on base, and he's had some better at bats. Jazz Chisholm's at bats have not been good. He's not helping necessarily on defense, like you said, and his base running has been putrid. And this is his biggest asset right now. Is if he's not going to hit, if he gets on base, you got to use his speed, or you got to hope his defense is good. Yeah, maybe he is. Maybe he is, Evan. He talked the talk, and now he's doing his best to try to walk the walk, really. Because he said all the right things at first. He's like, hey, we want to go win a championship. We know. And we were like, hell yeah, that's what we want. We want a little attitude. We want a little pizzazz. There's a word. Rhymes with jazz. And he showed those things, but you got to back it up, dude. Because if you're backing up the talk, then you're going to be loved for life here. Doesn't matter what you do the next 2 years with the Yankees. If you back up your talk in this postseason and help us win a championship from game 3 on, we're going to forget about this entire postseason run up until now, right? But you got to back up your talk because then you're going to be loved forever and you're going to be a god in Yankee land. But yeah, right, Anna, he hit a double only to get out with bad base running. So it's like he giveth and he taketh away because that could have given Cleveland all the momentum. Thankfully, it didn't. But that could have been like, hey, we got him because it was 2 outs on the base paths in the same inning. Because then Rizzo did the same. What the hell was Rizzo doing? I'm like, you stop running. And this is what I was saying before the playoffs. My biggest concerns were the defense and the base running. And those are the things that have kindly reared their ugly head so far. Like we said earlier in the show, it hasn't cost us yet, but...
Specifically infield defense. Right. Our outfield defense is great.
Yeah,
infield defense.
We got 2 gold glove candidates in the outfield, whether people like the finalist awards or not, but they're gold glove candidates, and it's the infield defense and the base running. Those 2 things have not been great, but yet it hasn't really cost us yet, which is great. But yet is the key word because it certainly can if this keeps up.
Chris is wondering if it's pressure from playing in a big city. I would start and say no because when he first got here, you could tell how much it means to him to be at Yankee Stadium, playing for the Yankees, and being around better players. It raised his level. When he first got here, he was electric. Electric doesn't even do justice to the way he started. He was electric. He was freaking great. He played great third base, even though he'd never played third base in his life, and he was on a record trajectory from the way he started, hitting home runs almost every other night since the trade. So it's not playing it for the Yankees or playing in New York has actually helped him. It's what happened for me, in my opinion, is he got to the playoffs and he hit that home run, but he kind of started talking because he looked okay. He looked fine in the playoffs, but then he hit that home run. But then he started talking, and then he gave bulletin board material to the Royals, and then the Royals fans started booing him, and then the Royals were pissed off, and the Royals felt that the Yankees were unprofessional, and then it had a negative impact on the Yankees. Folk were looking at the Yankees, going, "Why is this team being so unprofessional to us?" It was nothing to do with the Yankees. It was all about just Jazz Chisholm just fucking running his mouth for no reason. And I think since then that pressure has gotten to him. So I completely agree with Evan there. I think that's what it is. I think he talked a little bit too much, and he put negative energy towards him. And since then he's been trying to overcome it. He's been trying too hard, and it's leading to stupid mistakes on the base paths, stupid on beta on plate appearances, and some defensive errors as well. So I think that's probably what it was. I think he just put more pressure on himself that he just didn't need to do.
Yeah, what was he? He had 2 hits in the first 2 games. One of them
Yeah,
was the home run, and it was like 2 for 8, I think. So obviously, again, you're not going to complain about having 2 hits in 2 games. Since then, he's got 1 hit, and that was tonight. So you're looking at 4 games since he hit that home run. He's 1 for his last. Where's my math? 15. So right after he hit that home run, and he said, "Oh, they got lucky." Like you said, bulletin board material. Since then, he's got 1 hit, and he struck out a bunch, and he's only had a 1 walk in that span. We need him on base. I don't care if you're getting a hit or a single. Doesn't to me in the playoffs, your batting average. I don't give a damn what your batting average is. If you get on base, that's all that matters to me. And Jazz Chisholm needs to get on base because, like Evan said, he just needs to get on base. His speed is incredible, and he can really affect the game. And that's what affects the game in the playoffs. Don't run yourself out, and that's what Anna brings up. Fundamentals. The fact that we're still talking about this in the playoffs bothers me.
I know.
But again, can't stress this enough. It's not hurting them to a
No,
point that
that's
they're
what's
losing the game.
amazing. Let's briefly talk about Austin Wells before we finish off on some more positives. Austin Wells, what do we do here?
I mean, didn't he have? I could have sworn the first game of the playoffs he had a big hit against Kansas City, right? Didn't he have like a 2-run double or something? Or maybe I'm misremembering. I could have sworn.
I know that he's batting 120 for his last 100 at bats with just one home run.
If anyone in the chat can fact check that for me, because I could have sworn game 1 against the Royals he had a big hit after Judge had struck out, and then Wells came through in a big spot because we won game 1, and I think Wells was a big part of it. Since then, he's done jack shit, and his at bats have looked. He did. So he had an RBI single. All right, in game 1.
Okay.
I don't know if you bench him, Brad, because I don't want to see Trevino anywhere near the field. However, the bat is not.
Defense has been great. He's called
right.
Sensational games,
and he's called every game. So I think what I would do is you probably try Rizzo cleanup because I don't think Jazz should be there. Either Rizzo or Verdugo, but Verdugo seems a lot more comfortable in the bottom of the order. So maybe you go Rizzo and Wells just flip him. But I don't want to take Wells out of the lineup.
Yeah, that's right. I would have Rizzo 4, Stanton 5. Then you could probably have Jazz 6, Wells 7, or Wells 6, Jazz 7. I think it's much of a muchness. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I think you stick with what we've been doing. It's been the same lineup, except for when they switch Cabrera and Birdie around. But I think you go Torres, Soto, Judge, Rizzo, Stanton. Do you maybe put Stanton behind Judge? I just don't think they want to break up that lefty-righty at the top of the order. The bottom of the order doesn't matter. But I think at the top of the order, they want righty, lefty, because you can't. Like John Boy said that the other day, you can't bring in a bullpen guy specifically because that means somebody's getting an at bat against a lefty righty matchup that favors the Yankees. So I don't think they want to break that up. That's why that you won't see Stanton batting fourth. So I
Well,
think
we
you got to
need
put
to
Rizzo
give
there.
better protection to Aaron Judge. That's the
Yeah,
key. So they need to stop being worried about Austin Wells' feelings. As I tweeted earlier, if Joe Torre could move A-Rod to the 8 hole in the playoffs, then you can move Austin Wells out of the cleanup spot. Okay, I think Austin Wells will be fine. He's a rookie. I think he'll be all right. You know what I mean? So that's the first thing they need to do. I'd like Stanton to clean up spot because it'd be great protection for Judge, but then I also understand the lefty righty thing. So I think Rizzo's a good compromise. Rizzo's at bats have been tremendous, and that'll be our perfect segue to the next thing. Anthony Rizzo, stand up, y'all, for Anthony Rizzo, bro.
there's like some crazy dog out there barking. I'm hoping that doesn't get picked up by the mic. That threw me off for a second. Sounds like a dying animal, but yeah, Anthony Rizzo has been fantastic. It's only been 2 games, and yeah, he's playing hurt, and that's a big thing. Like I didn't think he'd bat, let alone swing it, and here he is. He's having great at bats. I said this earlier in the show. He's having probably the best at bats out of anybody, not named Giancarlo Stanton or Gleyber Torres, and he's impacted the game. He's impacted the Yankees positively. Had the big hit tonight. Probably won the game if we're being honest, because the momentum swung right back to us when Cleveland made it 3-2. Then Rizzo's hit came around and it was 4-2. And next thing you know, Judge put the game to rest. But man, he's been great. It's been great to see because I kept saying it. I don't know what his role is moving forward. I don't think they pick up his option, not for 20 million, not with the injuries and the regression. This probably is his last hurrah before he hangs it up, unless someone gives him a chance to play next year. And I want to see him go out on top, but he's been huge these last 2 games, and he's got the playoff experience. He won it all in 2016, one of the greatest World Series runs I've ever seen. That Cubs team in 2016, so he was a huge part of it. And I'm hoping that he brings that. And obviously, he's done a lot even before he played because his work with Birdie and Cabrera was great because they played a fantastic first base for the first few games of this postseason. So,
Very good point, man, because they actually both of them took time out to praise Rizzo
yeah,
for
he's been
his
great.
work with them at first base. That's a leader. Rizzo has championship pedigree. And if you look at our roster, which people on the Yankee roster have championship pedigree? One is Soto, the other is Rizzo.
Yeah,
The
because I
other
don't
is
think
Garrett
Cole
Cole.
did Cole win with Houston or did they lose when he was there?
I need to double check,
No,
but
because
he
they
was
didn't
one.
win. They won in 2017. He wasn't there yet. They lost in 2019 to Soto. So, but
He's been to the World
he's been
Series.
to the World Series,
He's
yeah, but
never
he
been to
didn't
the
win
World
it.
Series. That I definitely know that. So he, I would add him as well. That's 3 guys with championship pedigree with in terms of getting to a World Series. There's not a lot that actually have done it.
Right.
He is one of them, man. Rizzo's a leader, and I have to say, man, to do what he's doing, where the before his prior at bat, batting 500 in the playoffs, the dude hasn't faced live pitching prior to game 1 of the ALCS. He hasn't faced live pitching in about 3 weeks, and then before that, he was hurt for like a long stretch, um, injured for most of the year. So to come through in the biggest spots with not having played much, with 2 broken fingers, and have better at bats than like 2/3 of this lineup, that says a lot about the leadership that he provides. And he never got down because even if he wasn't able to play a part on the field, he was working with Birdie, he was working with Oswaldo Cabrera to improve them at first base in order to help them and in turn help us. I mean, that is leadership. That's teamwork. That's what it's about. That is what it's about. And he was the first person to hug Aaron Judge after he hit that home run. It was like, you did it, bro. You've come through. Some monkeys off your back. You know what I mean? Now you're in good shape. Rizzo has been the de facto leader of this locker room. I think um, in these playoffs, I think he really has been. He's been the leader out there, and you can tell he really has been. He's just working really hard behind the scenes with guys, and he's stepping up in the big spots. The respect that I have for Rizzo has gone up exponentially, and it was already pretty high. It's now gone exponentially higher with the way that he's been in these playoffs. I think it's been freaking incredible. That's a Yankee. That's a Yankee. It's a Yankee mentality.
And we need that in the playoffs. Look, even if he doesn't, but we know his regular season stunk, right? It wasn't good at all, and last year as well. But all that can be forgotten about because all that matters is right now in October. And if this is it for Anthony Rizzo, so far so good. If he wants to go out on top, this is certainly not a bad start. And I remember he said, I think it was before that Cubs series in September, he wants to retire a Yankee. And again, that's pretty special because he played most of his career with the Cubs. He's only been here for a handful of years. It feels like he's been here longer, but it's only been 3 years,
Yeah.
so or 3.5. That's pretty impressive. That's how much he likes being here after spending all that time with another historic organization like the Cubs, where he's still treated like royalty. He still wants to retire a Yankee. So, look, his regular season stunk. I was asking for him to get benched long ago, but I'm glad he's here now because my goodness, he's been great, and even his off the field stuff has helped the team because without him teaching Birdie and Cabrera, who knows what could have happened in those 4 games without him. So tip of the cap to Rizzo. We've been tipping our cap to a lot of guys in this episode for good reason.
Yeah. Another thing that's great is the fact the Yankees have won every single game, bar one, in these playoffs, and they haven't even really gone out of second gear, which says a lot about the Yankees team is really good, and B, they got kind of lucky because the kind of teams that would possibly potentially cause us problems were taken out beforehand. So we've got a pretty generous run, but we still have to get through these teams. I have to say, I've been very unimpressed by the Guardians these first 2 games. I've been very unimpressed. I was actually more impressed by the Royals than I have been with the Guardians. The Guardians have played really sloppy brand of baseball, extremely sloppy baseball. They haven't pitched very well. Their bullpen hasn't been this incredible bullpen, this frightening that we all expected. That they've been making a ton of errors on the field, and they haven't really come through in big spots either. They don't look like they've got too much going on outside of Ramirez and a spattering of others, but that's really it. Have you been a little disappointed by what you've seen from the Guardians? Obviously, it's a good thing, but
I just want to say what's up to Nicky real quick because he obviously Tats' cousin. Always good to see Nicky. He said he gives the Yankees Mets World Series about a 1% chance of happening, but if it does, he might have to make a trip to the Big Apple. And then he's praising the Luke Weaver signing. I think that was a steal. Luke Weaver, even if he wasn't that good this year, you got him for like $2 million, so it was a no-brainer. And he's been well worth the money. And we have him under contract for next year for $5 million, I think, with a club option. There's no chance they let that go. But yeah,
he needs a pay rise. He needs a pay rise.
Yeah, it's like it needs to be paid triple.
Absolutely.
What's up to Sean and what's up to the skip Aaron Boone? Hey fellas,
Hey!
Great game tonight. Yeah, great postseason, Aaron. Yeah. But no, you're right. Cleveland has looked ugly out there. And
yeah.
If there's ever a time to beat the Yankees, it's when we're the home team because we're not a good home team. I was talking to you about this the other night. We said how important tonight was because we're not that good at home. And the fact that we took both games because Cleveland was just not playing well, and we took advantage of it. That's a good team. Guardians are a really good team. They don't win that many games by accident. And that division was strong this year outside of the worst team in baseball history in Chicago. But every other team was really good. There's a reason why most of them made the playoffs. So I don't know what it is because I don't think it's a bright lights thing, but rookie manager, a lot of that team is not the same team from 2 years ago. But the Yankees, they have taken advantage of Cleveland's sloppiness. I am a bit surprised by it. I'm actually very surprised by it because I thought
Yeah,
they
I'm
were
very
a clean team because
yeah.
they had a lot of those guys were managed by Francona, and I know they got a new skipper and everything, but they were around a
He's
great
not even
manager.
that impressed me either.
Right. It's been surprising. Their
Yeah,
sloppiness has been surprising, but they're going home. They got to clean it up if they want to have a chance to come back in this thing.
I thought Vogt made a few questionable calls in game one, even. Game two, he did the right thing, obviously getting BB out quick. But other than that, he's not really pressed the right ones either. I've not been that impressed by the Guardians, and I think I'm going to amend my previous prediction. Now, I said the Yankees would win this series, but I thought it would be in 7 games. I thought it would be a tough, long slog series. But I'm going to amend that after these first 2 games. I think the Yankees are going to take care of them in a gentleman's sweep. I think they could do it in 5.
I'd take that. I'd take a regular sweep. I'd take a 5 game win. I'll take it anyway. They get it, you know, whether it's 4, 5, 6, or 7. I don't want it to go to 7. Um, but yeah, if this keeps up, I mean, I can't see them winning. And I know I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because we're not playing the cleanest brand of baseball either. It's just been a little bit better than theirs.
Oh
But
yeah, we haven't played very well, but one thing we do have is we have that talent
right.
disparity massively in our favor.
But all
Um,
it takes is them to have one game where they don't play bad baseball and they play clean and they can single you to death and walk you to death and then it's 2-1. So I mean, I could see us winning it in Cleveland, but we got to if they're going to play like this, if they start off game 3 sloppy again, put your foot on the damn pedal and step on their necks and don't let up. Commit murder. Just you got to put this team away because I don't want to give them any sort of fighting chance because that is a scrappy team. I'm going to give respect where it's due. They haven't looked good yet in this series, but that's a team that can flip a switch quickly because they've got the pieces to do it. They've got
the reason
decent
why I'm
pitching.
confident is because they looked overawed by the occasion. They looked particularly scared at Yankee Stadium. I think the Yankee crowd has gone in their heads a little bit because they're playing uncharacteristically badly. I mean, case in point, Rocky having a Castillo moment where he dropped a fly ball in the middle of the infield. I mean, well, that should have been a horrible, horrible at bat from Aaron Judge. Ended up being a mulligan for him. And it says to me that these guys are just all over the place.
1,000%. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, come on, Judge. You at least get it into the outfield, get the runner over, productive out, like his second at bat. But when he dropped that, I was like, holy shit. This is unusual. So, again, take advantage of it. And Jared, what's up? He said, don't give them any life. Exactly. Sean says, score first in game 3. Put your foot on their necks. And just, you have to be aggressive. You got to be the aggressor. And you got to be an asshole to win in the postseason.
Yep.
You got to beat the shit out of them if you can. Take advantage of when they're playing poor brand of baseball because it's very uncharacteristic of them to play the way they have been. So take
So the
advantage
Yankees
of
have
it.
actually scored like 11 runs in the series so far,
Yeah.
but they've actually missed a ton more, another 11 more opportunities. They could have blown out both of the games, but they're still scoring a decent number of runs for a playoff game, and
Yeah.
they're still not even firing on all cylinders. Another great sign. Another great sign is Aaron Judge finally, finally hit a home run. That's got to be good for him and good for us moving forward.
Oh yeah, I wasn't really worried about Judge. I saw there was of course a lot of conversation. Oh, he's a playoff bust and take away his captaincy, and they're comparing him to Jeter again. But one thing that was keeping me confident was that he was drawing his walks. And the last two games in Kansas City, his at bats were far better. And then again, hit last night, his at bats were better. And then obviously tonight, outside of the pop out, his at bats were great. He's getting on base, and he's not striking out a ton. I think he has 6 walks, 6 strikeouts. His on base is still 340 plus. It's just that he's not. What's up, Bronx boys for life? All rise, exactly. And he got the first home run out of the way, and that's why I wasn't too concerned because he was still getting on base. He was still putting the bat to the ball. He wasn't swinging and missing at everything. When Judge in the past has struggled in the playoffs, he was striking out a ton. He's not striking out a ton. It's only a matter of time before he starts putting a few more over the wall because he came close against the Royals. The wind took a couple away from him. So I feel like he could be the difference. He should be the difference maker going forward. If he's going the way he was for pretty much all this season, good luck to the remaining 2 games possibly against Cleveland and whoever we might have to play if we get past them. Because if Aaron Judge gets going, good luck because Soto's hitting and Stanton's hitting and Torres is hitting. And if Judge gets going, if we get 9-9 going the way we know he can, that's a brutal top 5 of your lineup, especially if they make the switch with Rizzo and Wells.
Yes. So FJ points out here Verdugo, that was the only hit with runners in scoring position. Jared says Rizzo, but I believe that our runner was at first base when Rizzo hit that double.
Yeah.
It was Volpe, and then
the bobble, right?
It was a bobble, and then that scored him. Once again, just incredibly sloppy from Cleveland, and I will take it because they look a little nervous. But do you think that Ramirez's home run to close out that game to make it 6-3, still a loss? Do you think that's gonna maybe give them a little bit of life going into Game 3? That hey, we got a home run off Luke Weaver. Ramirez finally breaks through and gets that home run. Do you think that they're gonna maybe play a little better in Game 3 now because of it?
I mean, it should give them a little bit of confidence, but that's the one guy that you expect to do it. I think if it was like Naylor, I'd probably be like, yeah, that's going to get them going because that guy, when he gets hot, he doesn't stop hitting, and he'll let you know because he's got a mouth on him, and when he's playing well, he'll let you know he's playing well. That's the last guy I want to see get going. I wasn't surprised if there's one person that's going to break Weaver's streak, it'd be him because J-Ram is freaking fantastic. And I loved Aaron Boone's quote. Like, what was it? Like, if I have to hear that he's underrated one more time, I'm going to go crazy. Because, like,
right.
How can it be underrated? He's one of the best players in baseball. He's phenomenal. I would love for him to be a Yankee someday. But did we say who's starting Game 3? Is it Schmidt going Game 3?
Oh, it's obviously Schmidt. Yeah, I want to see the pitching matchup, actually, because that's one of the, I think that's the final thing I want to talk about.
I think that first inning will be telling of how their confidence is. Because if they start to hit Clark Schmidt, who's very strong usually early in the game now, I think that's going to be telling. But
FJ says it's Schmidt versus to be decided.
Hmm.
And that's, again, in our favor because the Guardians' starting pitching is not good. It's not that good.
Outside of
BB's their best pitcher, and we took him out after an inning in the third.
It's going to be Boyd, Sean. Have they? Okay. I mean, Boyd. The Yankees wanted him like 4 years ago. They really wanted Matthew Boyd. But the thing that concerns me is it's a lefty. Yeah, it's a lefty. I don't want to see lefties. Maybe that's when they decide to put Trevino out there. Do you make that decision? We'll see. Obviously, we still got a couple of days.
Does that move Stanton up in the order? Maybe it has him clean up?
They might do that because you have that lefty on the mound. All right. Good night, Anna.
Thank you for hopping on, Anna.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. The fact that he's a lefty is concerning because that's my biggest concern is can we've proven that we can win despite the deficiencies. Can we hit lefties?
What's our records against lefties? Like 30-33 or something like that?
It's not very good.
It's fucking bad.
Yeah. Hopefully they prove they can get that one off their backs too. If they can hit a lefty, it doesn't matter who it is, then we should have all the confidence in the world in this team.
Absolutely. It's but there's so many overwhelming positives. We're up 2-zip in this series. We've taken care of business. Had we have lost a game at Yankee Stadium, it would have made things kind of difficult. But that's not the case here. We're up 2-zip, and we're in good shape. We really are. And I'm not that impressed by the Guardians. And this is the best opportunity the Yankees have had since 2009 to make the World Series. It's right there in front of us. I'm going to say it, but it's right there in front of us. And it's true. We're 2 games away, guys. Can you believe it? Everyone in the chat, we are 2 games away from going to the World Series. The World freaking Series.
Let's go get it, man. Let's go fucking get it.
Let's go fucking get it. Thank you, everyone, for hopping in the chat and being with us. Hit the like button, hit the sub button if you haven't already done so. Rob, what's your final thoughts?
Great win, great start to this ALCS. Keep the momentum going. Exactly, Jared. Yeah, man, this is fun. This is everything we wanted. Ken, good to see you as we get ready to wrap this up. We're gonna be Brad, let's calm down. Come on, let's leave the guy alone. He's not even here to defend himself. But yeah, let's just enjoy it. Enjoy the day off tomorrow and get ready for Game 3 on Thursday. Because, like I said a few minutes ago, put your foot on their necks. Don't let up. Kick their ass. Beat them into submission. Don't give them any hope. Because we got to prove that we are the team to beat. I think we are. I've been saying it. We've been saying it pretty much all season. This is our best chance to win the whole thing. Let's go fucking prove it.
Another key to taking care of these dudes early is that means that we can set our rotation as we ideally want it for the World Series. So there is definitely an incentive, but most importantly, when the other team is down, when the boxer's on the ropes and is dazed, you need to fucking finish him. You need to fucking finish him. That's what the Yankees are in this. That's the spot the Yankees are in right now. The Guardians are dazed. They're on the side of the fucking ring and they're like, ugh, bang, let's knock them the fuck out. Let's go to the World Series. How about that? So, as Uncle Ted says, wear your pinstripes with pride and play hard. We will be with you guys tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. So everybody, set your alarm clocks. Put your coffee ready to rock and roll for 10 a.m. and hop on with us, and we will talk some more. Look forward to talking to you guys. Rob, thank you so much for being with me. And we got to do some more of these. I think we should do some more of these. What do you guys say? Anyway, catch you guys later. And please, please, let's go to the World fucking Series. Let's go. Let's go. 2 away, baby. 2 away.